There are so many developers out there who do not respect our time, money, and generally hate us because they disagree with our opinions, whether they are politically, whether they are on video games. I mean, the whole works. And recently, we saw the Mass Effect board game designer attack fans as effing man babies for criticizing their decision to push gender ideology into this. And now we're actually finding out that the situation has gotten even worse because BoardGame Geek, the website that these reviews were posted on, is now banning critics like the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I had covered this a few days ago. The original video will be linked in the description, but as it says, the Mass Effect, the board game designer, has attacked fans as effing man babies after the game received negative reviews, allegedly for pushing gender ideology. Now, we are in the middle of a culture war. Gamergate 2 is well underway. Gamers are speaking with their wallets. We are researching. We are doing our due diligence instead of just sitting here, shutting up and consuming product time and time again. We're looking into who the designers are, who the developers are, who the writers are, who is making this game, of course, who is trying to sell us this product. And there are plenty of times now where gamers will speak with their wallets and not monetarily support products that are made by people who hate our guts. And that is exactly what is happening here. We are talking about somebody who now has attacked gamers as effing man babies simply for criticizing their decision to push gender ideology into this title instead of acting level-headed and saying, yeah, we totally understand why you might not like this decision. That's totally cool. There are plenty of games out there. And of course, the Mass Effect video games are here for you to still enjoy. I would just skip over this board game. No. It's right to the insults, calling us fucking man babies. He posted, I hate even talking about this on social media, but well, clearly you don't hate it too much or else you wouldn't be doing it. If you played Mass Effect the board game, would you mind giving it a rating on Board Game Geek to offset the effing man babies trying to tank the ratings with ones because they can't handle looking at pronouns on a character sheet? Yes, I don't want to look at pronouns on a character sheet, and the majority of people do not. The majority of people are not mentally ill freaks. We do not want gender ideology shoved into our entertainment. Video games, board games, they are a form of escapism, and that is what they should stay as. People are going to sit here and criticize you, Eric Lang, and the decisions that were made, and that's fine. If you do not like our feedback, you could just ignore it, but instead, he posts about how we're effing man babies trying to tank the ratings. People are simply leaving their genuine feedback. Is that really so crazy to think about? That there are people out there, oh my gosh, who don't agree with every decision you make? These people take everything far too personally, and that's what's going on now, because we're also hearing that Kyle Mann, the editor-in-chief of the Babylon Bee, is apparently in the doghouse with Board Game Geek because he posted the new Mass Effect board game has pronouns on its character sheets. The designer called anyone who complained about it a man baby. I'll be returning my copy, and I rated it a 1 on BGG. I was then immediately kicked off of the website I've been a member of since 2012 because of my religious beliefs that differ from the extremist gender ideology of the designer. Why the bigotry and exclusion? Of course, these people constantly talk about how they want to be diverse and inclusive, but not when it comes to inclusivity of thought, not when it comes to inclusivity of opinion. They have this mentality of inclusion by exclusion, which never works. These people who claim to be for diversity and inclusivity are the real bigots. They are the real disgusting people. And instead of simply allowing Kyle to voice his opinions and to, of course, simply return the game and leave a 1 rating, I almost said a 1 star, or 1 rating, because he does not agree with the decisions that are made, they tried to silence him. Now, of course, as you can see, every character has these pronouns. Shepard has he/him, Garrus has he/him, Liara has she/they, Tali has she/her. I mean, not particularly shocking given the direction of companies like Bioware, the state of the industry that is filled to the brim with activists who are more worried about identity politics. And to top that off, not only did he get banned, but it also reminded him that a few years ago he replied to a thread where someone said she was offended by the gendered nature of the term dudes on a map, referring to games with, primarily male soldiers on a map like Risk or Axis and Allies. And funny enough, not particularly shocking though, his comments were deleted and he was told by the admins that he was not allowed to disagree with the poster no matter how polite he was. Now, of course, if people are following rules, they are being respectful, anybody should be able to disagree with a post, especially on a forum. That should not be a problem, but it is. For these social justice warriors, they cannot fathom the idea that people out there exist who simply have opinions that differ from theirs. He had posted some of these screenshots that say, hi Kyle, in response to multiple women saying they view the term dude as not inclusive, the following is dismissive. Dudes on a map is already inclusive because dudes generally means you guys or everybody. Trust me, I live in California, I call my wife dude. Making the board game hobby more inclusive is one of the core values of our community. They're chasing those ESG dollars. Comments dismissive of the core values of our community are unwelcome and are removed by our moderators. Of course, claiming to want inclusivity by excluding certain people. Now, of course, I'm a woman. I have always used the term dude. I have never had a problem with someone saying dude or grouping me in when referring to a group of people as you guys. I think it is fucking ridiculous to be offended by something that simple, a term like dude. And if you're offended by that, you are the problem. You are a sensitive snowflake. And in my opinion, sitting here and telling people they can't use certain language is ridiculous. Kyle had responded with saying, okay, so I'm not allowed to disagree with the OP is what you're saying. And Matthew from Board Game Geek had basically responded, the short version in response to your question is no. Posting comments that go against the values of our community is not only unwelcome, but can result in a suspension of posting privileges. So yeah, if you disagree with the OP who is being offended by a term like dude, you are an ist, you are a phobe, and you are not allowed to sit here and voice how much you disagree with them. It's absolutely ridiculous. And unfortunately, when it comes to tabletop games, the TTRPG space has been infected for years at this point. If you look at companies even like Wizards of the Coast, filled to the brim with radical leftists, it's so disappointing to see this happen. And it's so disappointing to see something as simple as a board game website not allow people to have respectful disagreements. It's not like he was sitting here calling people slurs or using really offensive language that could get a website taken down, right? We're not talking about a situation like that. He simply is talking about terms like dude and ultimately asking if he can agree with the OP, and then you have the mods saying, no, you could get banned for doing that. So we're talking about an absolute clown world situation where people are simply saying they disagree with this board game having pronouns on character sheets. You have the designers melting down saying that we're effing man babies. This is an absolutely hilarious situation, at least in my opinion, because I don't think that this is going to gain these people any more sales, right? I don't think the modern audience is going to show up to buy this game, as they do not show up to buy really any games that are released specifically for them at this point. And I will be keeping my eye on this situation to see if they continue to melt down, if they continue to ban people on BGG, if this designer attacks gamers even more now that they are receiving a hell of a lot of backlash. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.